Hello, hello, hello.
The Pastords are sipping hot drinks this morning.
As far as you know,
This is some delightful Earl Grey tea.
I thought it was smudge.
No. Which tells us what Bruce is drinking. Also warm.
I'm having some of the finest coffee known to mankind right now. This is Jamaican Blue Mountain Blend that has been carefully burr ground in a conical burr grinder at home and then brewed.
Did you say conical?
Conical. It's a conical burr grinder.
That
Conical is...
that can't be a real word.
It is. There's the beans go down like this, and then there's these two little rolling things that are turning like this that are conical. They're turning and they grind it, but it keeps the bean from becoming heated while it's being ground, and gravity just drops it into the thing. You don't want to heat the bean when you're grinding it.
Otherwise, no.
You're losing flavor. So when you have those grinders that are, well, it actually heats the coffee at that point, heats the bean. So you want something that's very cool, and then when you brew it at the perfect temperature, and then you add froth, half and half.
May I ask what the perfect temperature is?
I don't know. Mr. Coffee does, though. That's not a person, that's a brand. We've had the same Mr. Coffee maker for like 20 years, and it does it to the perfect temperature.
You have a coffee butler at your house.
We do. A coffee
butler. Make sure the coffee is exactly the right temperature. And whatever you do, don't grind it where it gets too hot.
Yeah, so I heard your video this morning, and you had a lot of thatch in your throat. In fact, at one point, I really thought that you were going to lose it because you couldn't say anything. And I've got the worst fall allergies going right now. It's ridiculous.
But are you happy?
My eye itches. You can hear it in my throat down there. It's as soon as we crossed over, like from Florida into Georgia, I started draining. It's like, it's just part of the Southeast.
Alabama.
Well,
and then when you got to Alabama, it was like full on tears in your eyes.
Tears. My eyes are still teary, sneezing, the whole deal. But the funny thing is, I love fall. Fall's my favorite time of year.
Are you happy?
Nope.
Well, welcome to Alabama. So I looked this. No, I didn't look it up. You get the little things coming in your feed, and it was a study. Whoever does these studies, right, where they rate the happiness of each state in the United States. Well, they do all the countries and everything as well.
Actually, for it to be a study that has any credibility, I think an Ivy League school has to do it. This just out of Yale or Harvard.
I failed to see who did it, then
Penn.
You're looking at the criterion.
Not Penn State, just Penn. But then would it have credibility? No.
Not
this.
Harvard would have.
Fresh off something. Penn reports. Yeah, it's not going to work. Okay, so.
So whatever and I was trying to dig into a little.
Happiest state.
Happy. So they're talking about, the rate. They're going to rate all the states in terms of happiness. And it's based on a quotient related to emotional health and well-being, poverty.
Okay. Yep.
So I don't know what that's its own fascinating question. But would you care to guess with the ranking where Alabama came in on the happiness scale? So we were the what state?
Yeah, this one was I literally have no idea. I know Huntsville regularly makes the top 5 in terms of best cities to live in.
Yeah, so
So let's say the state is number 5. I don't know.
Let's invert that. They said we are the 4th unhappiest state.
Really?
Well,
no wonder I'm not happy.
And the least happy, and I guess that's
probably Hawaii.
They're the happiest.
Mississippi is probably the
you're nailing it.
Happiest.
Mississippi is the 50th, and Hawaii is the good for you.
For all of our Mississippi listeners, don't worry, be happy.
We're going to cheer you up today. This is going to make your day.
Wow, Hawaii is really high. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised by that. nice weather, dormant volcanoes for the most part. I think they got a few live
Yeah,
ones.
no, the people near the volcanoes are the least
Are the
happiest.
least
That's
happy.
what the scale.
That's just interesting.
Well-
Mohelo. That's their sort of.
But now
Greeting.
the whole idea, even how do you, what is subjective thing to gauge happiness? Do you know, what is even the criterion someone's using? I, for fun, ask you if you're happy. But what does that even mean? I'm just curious for you. What is happy?
What
happy mean?
It's part of my, and I've talked about this before, but it's part of how I help a person determine what's not good or what's problematic in their life right now. So if people come into counseling,
When you're counseling,
yeah,
okay,
there's usually something that they're experiencing that's negative, making them unhappy.
They're seeing you because they're unhappy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but they don't always know right off the bat why that is, or they have an idea about that. So I'll take them through a happiness scale, usually about 8 questions, and I'll say, all right, so how happy are you with your work? A scale of 1 to 10. 10 being fantastic, 1 being I hate it.
Wait, no, so you literally ask?
Oh, I do this all the time.
Okay, this is fascinating.
So how happy are you with your work? We'll give that a 1 to 10. How happy are you with your mom and dad, with your parents? How happy are you with your children? How happy are you with your siblings? How happy are you with your, career? And, and once I know a little bit about them, and then I'll ask them, how happy are you with God? Because sometimes there's a thing there that's going on.
Okay.
And they feel bad unless they say 10. Oh, it's 10.
I regret to inform you, I'm an 8.
No, there's a lot of people that actually that's a low space for them. And then the final question is always, how happy are you with yourself? And it's very telling.
That's a low number, isn't it?
Too often it is, which makes me sad. Or they'll go through 8, 7, 9, 8, 7, 9, 8, 9, 7, and then I'll say, how happy are you with yourself? 3. And I'm like, well, that's what we've got to work on then. But sometimes it'll be, marriage is 2. And so that's where you realize, okay, this is, in other words, if their overall happiness with their life, that's the first question. Overall, how happy are you with your life? Then we try to, drill down a little bit and find out where is that place where that's creating the most conflict or unhappiness or whatever else.
So you're using their internal happiness meter, whatever.
I give them no definition for what happy is.
So they have an internal.
And in fact, I tell them, don't overthink it.
Right.
Because if you start overthinking it, well, sometimes I know.
Right.
I got it.
Right.
Just overall.
You don't have to qualify anything.
How happy are you with?
Interesting. So
it helps us, and I say us because I want them to know, gosh, it turns out I'm least happy. I'm having the most dis-ease with my friends right now, or a relationship right now. And so then we can kind of go into that and talk about why that is and all that. Anyway, it's a fascinating way of helping people understand. In other words, if their life is overall a 9, okay, but there's one thing that's a 3, we know pretty quick that's probably what we need to be working on, that thing right there. And then they have to work on, that was traumatic, or whatever that thing is.
Okay.
So it's just a tool.
Now you read the Bible a lot. The word happy, sometimes there's the word blessed. Blessed is, which some translations might say, happy is.
King James did several times. Happy is the man who does something. It's like a stream.
I know like Psalm 1. Is it happy, or is it? Let's see.
Well, I don't.
That's
know.
interesting.
No,
that's one of those passages we learned as a kid. Yep. Blessed is the man who.
Happy is the man who obeys his parents. I think that was how we learned it. That was pretty much it. Happy.
But I wasn't happy when I obeyed my parents.
Whoa! Wait just a minute. Wait. That reminds me of something. So today is a big day in terms of happiness. Oh,
I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going with this?
It's October 20th.
It's October 20th, which I didn't realize, but that's my brother
David.
Our brother David's
brother to the Pastords'
birthday.
It's his happy birthday.
I think we should sing happy birthday to him.
Our poor listeners.
I'm going to tag David on this so that he'll get it directly into his inbox in Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Gosh,
or his Juno account?
Yeah. David and Juno. I think he may have upgraded to a
AOL.
You are in a Roger's in a mean mood today. All right, so I'm with David Martin. I'll also tag Roger Martin. There you are. You're right at the
No,
beginning
Dave
of my
is
tag
faithful
list.
and steady as the day is long.
You were
So, of
talking about
course-
him in your Facebook thing
So,
this
in
morning.
other words, he's going to be that person who just no need to change off of this. This is good, and we're staying with it. What do you?
So we're going to do a Facebook Live to David while we're YouTube Live, while we're Anchor Live on the podcast. We're going to sing Happy Birthday.
I am technoed out here.
We're going to sing Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday. We're going to sing happy
Birthday to David.
This is so much technology at one time, I can hardly stand it.
Well,
speaking of me, who's not really.
It's not a super techie kind of guy.
I can't believe that you're actually doing. What's the key?
Start lower.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. You're our favorite brother. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that was good.
Love you, Dave. Happy birthday.
What he said. So that was a big happy birthday shot. So
I hope he's happier than you think that'll make him happier.
It will make him laugh. It will make him laugh, and it will
it might
embarrass him slightly.
Yes.
Right. Well, he's already. Let's face it. David's always slightly concerned about us. Anyway, it's an undercurrent.
As he should be.
It's an undercurrent in his life. Gosh, I feel so uncertain about Roger and Bruce today. Well, get used to it.
Well, when we saw him a few days ago, we did give him the prolonged group hug.
Yes.
And
it
was cringeworthy.
I pulled his face next to my face.
Did you?
Where he could feel my beard.
That is so precious.
And I realized I don't see David often enough. David said, and literally, he's quite serious. He said, how long have you had a full beard? And I said, since 2007, Dave. He said, really?
We've got to see each other more often.
We need to get together more often. And
we do need to do a camping trip.
We do. I was very concerned because, he was limping around like he had a hitch in his get along. He was walking like an old guy. And I had to finally ask him about it. And he said, well, I ran 9. I said, do you still run? He said, well, I ran 9 miles this morning. I'm like, because I was imagining with that particular gait, how you could run 9 miles, how you could run 9 feet.
This is our brother who's run multiple marathons.
So
5Ks, 10Ks, 18Ks, all of those Ks.
A lot of Ks.
He's done it all.
He's a runner.
He's amazing.
But he was sore, and so that's why he was walking around with a little bit of a limp. So it just made me concerned because I was like, gosh, David's aging like more rapidly than you and I are.
Well, if you're 59, you maybe shouldn't be running 9 miles.
Is David only 59? 59.
Today would be 59 because I turned 60
and I turned 58
in August.
In 3 months.
Yep.
Lord have mercy. That's
so
crazy.
He would have turned 59. No, but
in February we'll be 58, 59, 60. I always remember that on my birthday. It's like we're all boom, one, boom, 1, 2, 3 in a row.
All the boys came right together, but
so it's singing my phone and continues to sing. Why don't we just stop that? Okay, there we go.
Technology that you can't control.
I just don't know what that was about. So I was reading this morning.
What were you reading?
Oh, I read the same thing for 2 mornings in a row because I was wrestling with it.
This is from the Bible, right?
From the Bible, from Jesus. I'm always reading Jesus. I just need more Jesus. By the way, this is just great. I've created a new word when I do something that I know is not the right thing to do. I'm like, that was very un-Jesus-y. Isn't that a great word? Un-Jesus-y. On we go. So don't give that too much thought.
No, I'm trying to think, is there a better, could I?
Well,
un-Jesus-y.
Well, it was not Jesus-like. Okay, so but un-Jesus-y is just
that's
fun.
Cute. That's
just
yeah, okay. Word. Fun.
So
fun.
Well, it's a way of reprimanding myself without making me feel unhappy.
Right.
That was very un-Jesus-y. But so I was reading this morning and yesterday the story that Jesus tells about this wedding banquet, and it's told in multiple spaces. So this is after he's coming to Jerusalem. He knows he's going to be crucified at the end of the week. He knows that they're going to reject him. So he's telling stories that are very in your face to the Jewish leaders. They know that these parables that he's talking about are about them.
Right. I love that the phrase in there. they perceived he was talking about them.
Right. Not always the brightest bulbs in the pack, but they picked up on this to the degree that multiple times they wanted to kill him, or they wanted to arrest him, but they were afraid of the people because the people held that he was a prophet. So he tells the story about the master who has the landlord who has a vineyard built, and builds a wall around it and a wine press and all of that kind of stuff. And he's looking for fruit at the time of harvest. And they refuse not only to give it to him, but they beat the servants. They kill the servants. He sends his son. They kill the son. And he's telling a story about the prophets of old and himself now coming in the name of the Father, looking for fruit. And there's no fruit. And so he says, what will that landlord do? Well, he's going to kill those guys and he's going to give the vineyard to someone else who will produce its fruit. So then he tells another story. He's just on a roll now.
He would do this. He would string stories. Yeah. Like he did with the prodigal, the three lost.
Absolutely.
He would string these together.
So I was much more familiar with the vineyard story, and I've processed that one, but less so with this one because it's told in two different passages, but he tells it a different way in Matthew, which is fascinating. So he says, the kingdom of heaven is like, and I always love that because Jesus is teaching us something about this kingdom. And he's going to give something a way for us to understand it. And this story is a little bit bizarre. So he said, it's like a king who's throwing a huge wedding banquet. It's a big deal for his son. Now, because I'm thinking it's a wedding. So two people are getting married. It's a big deal. So he invites all of these friends to come. And one by one, one after another, they say, nope, can't come. Not going to come. So he sends his servants to find anybody and everybody. And again, it's told different in Matthew than it is in the other passages. It says, so they go out into the streets and they're just inviting everybody, listen, both good and bad.
Okay.
Which is just an interesting way of telling this story. Both good and
bad.
Wording. That's the wording in Scripture.
Okay.
So both good and bad. And the kingdom hall is full. It says that it's full.
Right.
And the king is looking out and he sees that this room full of people. All of these people that have been invited and have been welcomed into his place. And he sees a person who stands out from the rest of them. And he goes to him. And he has an interesting word that Jesus said, friend, why are you not wearing wedding clothes? How did you get in? Right. Apparently the
wedding crasher.
Well, exactly. I actually wanted to do a sermon called The Wedding Crasher.
The Wedding Crasher.
Because it's such a great, he says, he's very kind in this thing. There's this compassionate friend. In other words, did you not, these clothes were provided for everybody, at the door. Did you not get that? Giving him an opportunity to go, oh gosh, yeah, I missed that. I definitely want the wedding clothes because I want to be a part of this thing. It says the man had nothing to say. I mean, it's almost like he says, Fred, hey, how did you get in? Why don't you have the wedding clothes? And he said, the man said nothing. And all of a sudden the king's tenor toward that person changes radically.
Okay.
This is an interesting story. Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is like.
Right.
And he says, hey, to his servants, tie this man up, hand and foot, and throw him outside into the darkness where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Okay.
I'm like, whatever the wedding clothes was and wasn't, ticked off the king. And he said, then Jesus says this, for many are invited, but few are chosen. And I have been wrestling with that for days. And one of the things that, and I'm just curious to get your take on it, one of the things that I've been coming up with, because we've talked about this a lot. Jesus would say the kingdom of heaven is like, unless you become like a child. He would say, guys, you're all about this. Unless you become like a child, unless you humble yourself. This is that. It seems because he comes to this person, the king comes to this person without wedding clothes in a very compassionate, hey, friend, where are your wedding clothes? In other words, hey, you have the same opportunity everyone else has to wear the wedding clothes.
Right,
Did you miss that at the door? Let me get those for you. But the man says nothing. In other words, it seems that he didn't want the wedding clothes.
Right.
He wanted the wedding on his condition.
Right.
I want to be here, but I want to be here on my terms.
Right.
And I don't want your wedding clothes. Don't like them. They clash with my shirt. Whatever that is, they clash with my lifestyle. Whatever that was, because the king immediately, his face turned. It was like, hey, throw this guy out. He doesn't need to be a part of this wedding party. Like it's going to mess it up. And I wondered if part of the wedding clothes was the humility of surrendering yourself to a king. In other words, it's this thing of and again, in Western American culture, we're so, I don't want anyone to dress me or tell me how to dress, or, Marlene and I actually got into it a couple of days ago, just about this shirt. Like, she was like wanting me to wear. I'm like, I don't want your help with my dressing. I like my, but I realize there's a humility. I don't know, but I'm curious, because he finishes the whole thing by saying, and again, he starts at the kingdom of heaven is like, finishes, many are invited, but few are chosen. And I'm like, yeah, they went out into the streets. They were inviting everyone in. So I know part of the parable is the Jewish people, by and large, rejected Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the prostitutes and the sinners and the tax collectors were coming into the kingdom in droves,
right?
Which of course infuriated the religious leaders. And Jesus tells stories about that. But who's the guy? What does it represent? The guy that gets in and then is thrown out.
Well, I wonder, and again, with a parable, with a story, these like, if you get too fine with it, that every little wrinkle,
yes.
It's the beauty.
I'm not trying to make this definitive theological statement.
It's the beauty of like, which also I'm fascinated by. Yeah. We can only take in the kingdom in bits and similarities, similes. This is like, it's sort of like this, because so there's one, I think, is exactly right. The dimension of the people who got the first invitations, the people who should have been most, or who were just assuming they, didn't want to be there.
They outright rejected the invitation.
Right. But I wonder if this story speaks to something that I've given a lot of thought to. It's we have this vision, let's say, of heaven and hell. We have this vision of, okay, two places you can end up. One is a paradise.
A destination. That's a great word. We
Right.
think of them as destinations.
We think of it
typically eternal destinations.
Right. So this is a destination.
Okay.
There's a really good place. Fill in the blank, whatever kind of place, beach, skiing,
paradise.
Whatever you like. It's paradise for, So, but then there's this really bad place. You're not going to like the temperature there, whatever. And this is even now that people are making a decision somehow. Their eternal destiny is really about a decision of you're choosing your location. After you die, you can have the judgment of God in a bad place, or you can have the blessing of God in a nice place. And this is where I think a lot of people think, well, of course, people are going to want the good place.
Right.
I'm just not convinced, because the narrative is flawed. The reality, the Bible's narrative about that is not about a place, it's a person. Do you want God? Do you want the Father's house? Do you want the Father? So I look at this story, and here's somebody who wants the wedding. They want the feast. They want the good things, but they don't want what the Father wants. In other words, the clothing is a reflection of...
They don't want what the king wants.
Right. What matters to him.
Yep.
This is not a statement about... clothing is actually a powerful image in different places in the Bible. But the reality is, the king wants a thing a certain way. This matters. And we might even think in a wedding, for instance, the bride wants, she decides what the other's going to wear.
She does. She decides the colors and
right.
all of that.
She decides all those things. And if you're going to...
They have decided what I'm going to be wearing December 10th.
And what you decide then is...
Am I going to do
whatever
that
the bride wants, we're going to go with that, right? We would just think it'd be... you've got one bridesmaid, everyone else is in this lavender, and there's one, she's in an orange. She just didn't want it. Well, we would just understand... Why would you challenge the bride's wishes?
It takes away something from the whole. Interestingly enough,
but you're also saying it's the ultimate. I don't want what the bride wants.
I don't want what you want, Roger. It is unhealthy individualism.
Yeah,
I don't want to wear what everyone else is wearing.
Right.
I want to do my thing.
Right. And to me, at the end of the day,
yeah.
I mean, it's C.S. Lewis who makes the case at the end, people who were encountering the judgment of God chose that. In other words, they didn't want the Father. But there are all kinds of people. This is the thing. It's like you have people that don't want to be in jail, but they also don't want to obey the laws. There are cases someone they don't, but they don't want to be in jail. But that's not the choice. In other words, so I think we think at the end of the day, God's just going to give people the nice place or the bad place. So no, it's, do you want the Father? Do you want him? At the end of the day, I would just wonder if that's not this powerful picture of the person who wants the nice place, who wants the feast, who wants the party, and who doesn't, but doesn't want the person giving the party, that's not. And at the end of the day, the narrative in the Bible is about who we love. And that's what got twisted in sin, is loving ourselves more than loving God. We were made to love him. We were made to enjoy him. We're most at peace, most content, have the greatest joy in him. He is who we're made for. We're made to, but where we say, I will have my own way, I want what I want, more than but the God who makes me, then we're really saying, I want his gifts, but I don't want him.
And so this even, when we think about different theologies around being chosen, the elect, because Jesus finishes this by saying, many are invited. Almost this idea of all are invited, but only a few are chosen. It would be like, all right, hey, if you want to play on our, let's say we're going to put together a football team. But if you want to play on our team, you're going to have to wear our uniform. So our uniform is purple and green because we are the Purple People Eaters. And that's our football team. And so we want you to come to the tryouts. Everyone's invited to that. But you're going to have to wear our uniform. And so, everyone lines up. And it's time for the coach to do the selection. And there's one guy who's wearing his Dallas Cowboys uniform.
Because he loves him some Cowboys.
Loves him some Cowboys. Guess who doesn't get chosen for the team? It's an interesting thing about whose decision reflected whether or not he even got chosen. It's that thing of, I've thought for years, this whole idea of God's choice, our church, is working together in a cosmic way that I don't claim to understand.
Nobody does.
But it does seem that a person says, I don't want what the king wants.
Right.
I want to do this on my own terms. I want what I want. And it's like, I love the way you said it. He wanted the wedding feast. He was the wedding crasher.
Right.
Oh, I want the wine and the dancing and all of that. Yeah, great.
But a relationship with the bride and groom, do I want? No. I mean, that's not important to me. I'm just here. I'm just here for the bar.
I'm just here for the open bar.
The open bar.
It's not a cash bar, right? So, yeah, that helps me. The other thing, because as I was driving in, then I was thinking about some comforting words to me about Jesus, because I want to follow Jesus. I don't reject his words. I realize there's certain words of Jesus I don't understand.
Yes.
I mean, I just don't understand it. I'm like, gosh, I wish I could say I understood that. But Jesus says, I do not judge the person who hears my words and doesn't keep them. And I'm like, oh, thank God for that. I hear his words. I want to do them, but I don't always keep them. He said, there is a judge for the one who rejects my words. And that's that choice that a person can make. I don't want Jesus.
Right.
Don't want his words. Don't want to live by his way. In fact, his way doesn't even make this whole love your enemies thing. That doesn't make sense. Forgiving people, that doesn't. Whatever it is, Jesus says there is a judge for the person that rejects. And that's the reason I say it's comforting for me. I don't reject the words of Jesus. I love them. I really do. I don't always understand them. But I realize I don't always keep them because it's that thing of that was very un-Jesus-y of me. When I say something to a person just in a very angry, irritable way, and I'm like, that was un-Jesus-y.
Right.
It wasn't kind. It wasn't treating people as I want to be treated. So yeah, those are some just things I was wrestling with. But I think you've helped me. And again, any parable it's a like thing. But it's sad to me. It's hard to imagine. Maybe it's not that hard to imagine. It's sad to me that there's a go, I don't want the way of Christ, which is in my mind, that's the wedding clothes.
Yeah. Right. And whether, again, even the Bible will use the language of being clothed with the righteous, letting God clothe you.
Yeah.
But
yes.
right. But where I say, and we know, what is self-righteousness? It's putting on my own clothes. We understand self-righteousness. We actually feel like we talk about someone who's self-righteous. We understand that's not a good thing. But this is exactly, it's an image the scriptures use. Let God clothe you. But where I say, and I think this can be, someone says, I'm going to make myself good enough. Because at the end of the day, the heaven and hell thing, the good place, bad place, comes down to how good you are. So I'm going to dress myself, and this is as good. But doesn't the Bible say all our righteousness, our best attempts are like filthy rags? Is this part of the image? Someone's coming in, actually, they look awful, and it's not because they're poor and they don't have access. They've chosen. This is the best I can do, and I'm proud of my self-righteousness.
It's the emperor's new clothes.
Yes,
he's the only one that doesn't know he's not looking that good. You like him? Really good. I'm not seeing it.
I can't look you in the eye right now.
I'm literally not seeing it. Not seeing the clothes at all.
But I think the other thing that's so important here, it's the narrative of what's wrong in our world. This comes back to, it's not wrong ideas. It's wrong love. It's about what we love. It's not, even when I say what we believe, it's what we decide to trust. It's less about the facts. Because again, there's a narrative that God gets you in the good place if you believe the right facts.
Bible facts about Jesus.
And if you refuse to believe the right facts, then you go to the bad place. But at the end of the day, the Bible speaks more of what you love shows up in the end. Who you love shows up at the end. That those who love the Father end up in the Father's house. Those who don't love, it's less around facts, as if we get a theology test at the gates of heaven somehow. No, right now, some idea, you can have some idea of your future, but right now, who do you love? Do you want God? And you and I can honestly acknowledge, like Peter, oh, I love you. As many times as I don't act like it, I love you. I want you in my best moments. At the end of the day, the people who love God will be with him. And the people who don't want, and you can have the people, they want his house. They want his gifts. They've been enjoying his gifts on this earth for years, for a lifetime. But this is the fatal flaw, is where we end up. And this is the thing. We enjoy God's gifts without acknowledging him. We enjoy God's gifts without wanting him. And at the end of the day, that is the story of our lives.
Yeah, it's that. At the end of the day, you sort of get what you want.
You get what you want.
In other words, I've said, for years when I talk about God isn't fair, and I'm so thankful, because I don't want fair in terms of, I think I've got this worked out. I think I'm good enough to be a part of God's kingdom and the thing that he's doing and his larger agenda. I don't think that. And I think to myself regularly, if God's fair, I'm doomed.
Screwed.
It's just all over. I can't.
Not good.
Right. So my prayer is still, even today, it's God, have mercy upon me, a sinner.
Yeah.
It is, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. It is, my trust is 100% fully in Jesus. And it's not Bible facts about Jesus.
No.
I actually probably have some facts about Jesus wrong. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
when I think about your book, Partly Wrong, I put that back on the top of my nightstand because I want to reread it. Because it's just helppful for me, even in what I'm writing about how to disagree without being disagreeable. Part of it begins with not just the humility, but the wisdom of saying, I'm not right about everything.
Right.
There's just things that I'm not right about. So while I don't believe that I have every Bible fact about Jesus right, I know I trust him.
Yeah.
I know I trust him. And that is my only hope. That's my only hope for wedding clothes.
Right.
At the end of the day.
And I think that's the image is, that's a beautiful, he's my hope. We sang songs,
Yep.
About that. All that I have is Jesus. All that I claim is Jesus. All that I want, all that I need, all that I
those
plead
kind of songs still bring tears to my eyes.
is Jesus. He is
David Crowder's song. Oh, my hope is in Jesus. Thank God my yesterday is gone. All my sins are forgiven. I've been washed by the blood. I listen to that song and it brings me to tears because it is that thing of, I've got no hope.
Yeah.
He is my portion.
Right.
That's another thing I've been thinking about. And I want to do some teaching on this idea because it comes from that Old Testament idea. If I remember correctly, the priests didn't get land. They weren't landowners.
Yeah.
Their portion was God.
It was God.
And that's kind of what that was the ideal I think that God has for every person.
Yeah.
That I'm your portion forever.
That the inheritance is a person, not
a thing.
Wealth, not a place.
Right. Not a place, a heaven. Right. Yes, because heaven wouldn't be heaven if we didn't want the king of heaven. In other words, the kingdom of heaven couldn't be the kingdom of heaven if you don't want the king.
Isn't it Jesus' beautiful words where he's saying, I'm going to prepare a place where you can be with me.
Yeah, so that where I am,
right,
you're going to be with me.
But that's the key point. It's not about the place. It's not about the
it's about the person.
Trappings and the it's the realization, and this is where we can walk today. Everything beautiful and good and brilliant all around me is a reflection of God. I'm enjoying him in what he's made, and I see him in everything, and I can enjoy him and find, I want to be my heart, even the prayer to start the day. I just want to walk with God today. I want to enjoy today with him. And we talk about that often, but you can't talk about it really enough because we're in a grand love story, and where love, and the songwriters are right, love is the thing that matters most.
Love is the answer.
Love is the answer. Love will
key. Keep us together.
Everything. If love never lasts forever, tell me what's forever for. All the songs are hitting on this criteria. We realize we're in this grand love story, and love matters more than anything. And what we love, who we love, or what we love matters more than anything. And that parable, again, just highlights, at the end of the day, love is everything. And the question, maybe Jesus was always getting at, is, where's your heart? What do you want? What do you love? Because he's always wanting for us to love him. This phrase hit me the other day. God wants us to love him as much as he loves us. I think that's what love God with all your heart, soul, mind. So God loves us, but Roger, with a whole heart.
Is that not the answer to the beginning of our whole question on happiness? If loving God in the same way that he loves us, that becomes the key to happiness, because I find my joy in him. I find my portion in him. I find that is happiness, because this world, when I think about happiness, things are in this world are up and down, sometimes happy, sometimes not happy, good times and bad times. But God is this faithful. You talked about it this morning. He's constant. And if we can keep just growing in that love, because Jesus would say, remain in my love. The Father loves me.
Yeah.
I love you. Now remain in my love, and you'll bear much fruit. It's this whole thing of that. Everything flows from this love relationship. And from that flows fruit, love, joy, peace.
It's perfect.
And I had forgotten that faithfulness was a fruit of the Spirit. I was like, is that really a fruit of the Spirit? When he said that's, I'm like, what? I'm like, it is faithfulness. It's right in there.
No, this is why what you just spoke is why is what fuels my joy and happiness every day. It's not that everything is going just the way I want, but there are plenty of times where that's not. There's stressful or hard
Right.
or annoying kinds of things. There are losses, but I never lose the one I love most. I I'm always going to have him. I have him in the day. I'm walking with him in the day, and it is the truth. If I lose every other thing, I don't lose him.
Right.
And when you can't lose the thing you love the most, how can you not be happy? It's like, okay, I could lose my eBay work and my income. I think about it from time to time. They could send me a notice and say, "We think you violated this thing.
You're out."
They can shut me down. I think about it from
It's their
time to time.
platform.
It's their platform. So all the thing I've done, all the listings I've created, all the work I've done in a moment,
Sure,
could be shut down. A car accident, I could get a terrible phone call, about somebody that I love being gone. Our house could go up in flames. I realize all of those things, but I can't lose the one I love the most. So again, isn't that at the core of contentment and joy? And this isn't, again, the idea that Roger goes around, which is jovial and smiling all of the time. But at a core level, I can be honest. I'll go into there's a convenience store I go in regularly. I'll get my fountain soda, and I'll go up. How you doing today? And I had one guy actually just a week or two. I wish I could get some of that joy you've got, or get some of that.
Are you always this happy? Is that what they say?
It was something. But I realized it's because I'm rich, and the rich has nothing to do with the vehicle I'm driving,
Yep.
the house I live in, how well my eBay business is. It really doesn't. So yeah, that's why Roger's bucking the Alabama trend as the fourth unhappiest state. I'm I did not contribute to that figure.
That's surprising though. I would not have guessed that.
Right.
That it's because it's interesting.
But it even wonders for me there how skewed. I mean, whatever. Even if
what was the second happiest?
Well,
state?
even if you're using poverty as some kind of measure, that can be a flawed measure because
there's poorer states than Alabama.
Right, but poor people can often be surprisingly happier than wealthy people. So digging into the rubric they're using, the measurement, the tools.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I'm like, rubric? Is that like rubric?
Try and throw in a word like you did. Not Jesus-y.
Not Jesus-y. That was not.
It's slogan time.
Un-Jesus-y. That would be even that's like a great book title. Un-Jesus-y. Things we do every day that are counter to the kingdom of heaven. Un-Jesus-y.
Yes.
So what's our slogan for today, Raj?
That's what I was trying to think.
Don't worry, be happy.
And wear the right clothes.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting that Roger said I look very dapper today in my shoes, and we ended up talking about clothes.
Yeah, that's just really weird.
Dapper. So
we're going to have to finish season 7 episode.
Oh, I thought you realized you were wrapping up season 7. Are we done with this one?
No. Bruce.
3 episodes in. I'm ready for
suddenly
episode
Bruce
8.
is very excited.
Season 8. Yes. Of course, at a certain point, people are like, what are you? And there's other people that don't have seasons or episodes. No, they just have episodes, no seasons.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So it's like, it's just episode 432. There's no seasons.
Oh, that's true. I've heard people. Yeah, this is episode.
There's some podcasts that don't have special edition director's cut either, which we had last week.
Which you had last week.
Which Roger hasn't uploaded
yet.
Had
no idea about.
But Roger's going to upload it because he's going to get it from Facebook or from the YouTube studio, record it, and upload it. Because it was a fantastic podcast last week. Marie Griffith.
She was
Wow,
good.
Killed
Yes.
it.
Yes.
All right. With that, Pastords out.
Pastords out.
Have a happy day.
Yeah. Be happy.
Oh, that was solid right there. Be happy. Can't go wrong with that.